Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for another edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Mark Roloff. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including items from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight some items from the upcoming Tuesday, May 24th, Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in City Manager Mark Roloff. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Great to be here, Andy.
All right, well, we've got a action-packed show. We've got quite a bit to talk about today. And as I think everybody knows, construction projects are underway in Oshkosh, very much so.
Yeah, they sure are. We've got some major ones going on. Probably the one that gets the most discussion is Algoma Blvd going through the UW Oshkosh campus. And with the benefit of our Oshkosh Media's new drone, we've got really good, literally a bird's eye view of how the project looks. You can really get an idea of how massive this project is because it's over a mile long and gives you an idea of all the amount of work that goes into this. We're just now on Algoma, just starting to get ready with excavation to do some of the utility work out there. And the first thing is doing some of the hookups. So that's a manhole that's eventually connecting down to the river. That's where most of the work has been. But here in Algoma Blvd, you can see a great bird's eye view of the campus and just the amount of work that's going to entail to get this done. We now that the university is out of session, we're going to be working a lot more on this. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the other one that we have that's a little bit of an update is a 2021 project. Mm-hmm. That's Oregon Street and Fond du Lac Road, right. Sanitary sewer construction. That's pretty much getting finished up. They're doing landscaping and turf restoration there. So the traffic out on Fond du Lac Road and Oregon Street is pretty much back to normal. And I've mentioned this before, but it bears mentioning again because our 2022 next phase of Oregon is waiting for delivery of sewer pipe. May not happen until September. So it's going to be a while before we get that project off the ground.
Okay.
And then lastly, this is more of a residential area on the northeast side, East Lincoln Avenue and Rosalia reconstruction. Progress on this is pretty good. This stonework, you can tell that the utilities are already in place. So we are doing some great work out there, and we've already started to do a little bit of concrete pavement that's already there out on Lincoln. So you can see this project is progressing very well. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, on Rosalia Street, that's not a very big street, but it carries one of the biggest water pipes in the city coming from our filtration plant. So that one is just now getting started. The contractor's really been pouring their efforts into Lincoln Avenue, and so we want to get that done, and then we can start on Rosalia Street. So that one's making very good progress. We're real happy with everything that's going on out there. Certainly happy with the progress on Algoma, but that's a big one, and it'll take the whole summer and into the fall.
And just a reminder to our viewers as well that you can sign up for email updates on any of those projects. Please visit the city's website and you can get those email updates sent to you. Okay, Mark, the Oshkosh Police Department recently held their law enforcement memorial ceremony. And I believe that because of COVID, they were not able to have this for a few years.
Right. The last time this was done was actually in 2019. And that was to celebrate or honor people who had died in the line of duty in 2018. So this is a 3-year holdup on this. So it was honoring the 3 fallen Oshkosh police officers that have lost their lives in the performance of their duties over the lifetime of the city of Oshkosh. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, it's been over 80 years since we've lost one of our own. Meanwhile, there were many officers lost, many due to COVID, but many officers lost during the last 3 years, 2019, 2020, and 2021. And this ceremony honors those fallen police officers. And this is done throughout the state. but we have a very solemn ceremony, and you can tell that that our officers take this duty very seriously and honor their own. So we're pleased to honor them, and as you can see, our honor guard participated in this just to show that. And Chief Dean Smith talked about the values that the police department holds and their commitment to serve and serve with integrity. So it's a very good event, and fortunately, you with Oshkosh Media were there to tape the whole event.
That's right. It'll be shown on Oshkosh Media Gov TV, and also it's available on demand anytime on the Oshkosh Media YouTube channel. So please check it out. Okay, recently we've had some vandalism, unfortunately, at Oshkosh Parks, and I know that one individual, I believe, was arrested, but it's an ongoing search to try to narrow down what happened here. Yeah,
these are mostly inside restrooms, although there's some other vandalism in other places. So, we can't have video in restrooms, so to see when this actually gets done. But here's a case of soap dispenser getting smashed, and then somebody set fire to the roll of toilet paper, and that sort of industrial size strength type of holder. So it caused a pretty good fire, damaged the wall, and completely ruined that dispenser. We're talking several $100s at each and every time that these are damaged. I don't think you can see it as well, but a park bench was bent, and you can't see it with this video, but if you get up close, you can see that it's had quite a bit of damage. And then, sadly, we can only show you the PG-rated versions of some of the graffiti damage that's been done at many of these areas. There's a lot more and a lot worse that we can't show, but clearly this senseless vandalism, it just doesn't make any sense. I'd ask parents to impress upon their children that this is hurting everybody. There's some belief that there's some fun in this. There's no fun in this, and it causes damage, it's costly, and it prevents us from being able to serve the public because we have to close our restrooms while these things get repaired. So we certainly want to get people aware of that. But the one juvenile that was arrested, they were arrested for causing damage about $1,600 worth, and that's just one incident. So you pile these up, we're talking several thousands of dollars of damage with each of these events, and that's just it's uncalled for. And we certainly appreciate any help that people can give us to find the folks who did this and hold them accountable.
Right. Most of the damage took place between April 16th and May 3rd. And if anyone has any information about these incidents, please contact the Oshkosh Police Department. That phone number is 920-236-5700 and option 1. So please give the PD a call if you know anything about those incidents. Okay, on a brighter note, over at the Oshkosh Public Museum, they have a new exhibit on display, and there's an Oshkosh connection with this.
Yes, Helen Farnsworth Meyers is an Oshkosh resident, considered a genius of Wisconsin due to her many contributions to art, and this exhibit commemorates the 150th birthday of the famous Oshkosh sculptor Helen Farnsworth Meyers. And throughout the state, there are schools that have contests in Helen Farnsworth Meyers' name. And we want to admire her skill and technique, and so we've done that through a selection of many of her beautiful sculptures that have either been donated or on loan to the museum. So we certainly want you to know about that. The exhibit opened on April 23rd and runs through August 14th. I had the privilege to be there for the preview opening, and it's just fabulous. So I encourage you, especially if you are a fan or aficionado of sculptures, this is something you do not want to miss.
And folks can visit the Oshkosh Public Museum's website, which is oshkoshmuseum.org, for tickets, and you can line up when you'd like to visit, and feel free to check out all the other wonderful things happening at the museum. There's so much that is always going on over there, so we encourage folks to check it out. Okay, another, maybe this is a little bit of a self-serving plug
Little
here.
self-promotion here, Andy, I gotta say, but you go ahead. You guys deserve it.
Well, thank you. Our Oshkosh Media Division was very honored to receive several awards this year at the Wisconsin Community Media Fest that was held on May 12th. And we were able to receive some awards of excellence, 4 awards of excellence, which is sort of like the equivalent of like a gold medal. One of which for the Oshkosh State of the City 2021, and also some other awards were received for the Oshkosh Public Museum White Christmas Public Service Announcement, the League of Women Voters Candidates Forum for Common Council, and finally the Oshkosh Aviation Business Park promo. So we were very honored with those awards.
Yeah, well, the one that you're showing for State of the City, one of the great things about that one is that was a new category that the Media Fest honored, and that was for virtual types of events. And you'll recall that State of the City was not canceled, that we just had to work on the fly to create a brand new type of virtual event. Mm-hmm. And our folks at Oshkosh Media, particularly the guys behind the camera and in the control room here, did an outstanding job of putting together a program that their peers certainly recognized. I always say these guys do a wonderful job at making a guy like me look good. So they really do an excellent job, and they are so well regarded throughout the state for their commitment to excellence, and they have inspired other communities to this same level of excellence. So it's a great way to be transparent with the public, with you, telling you about things, and we certainly are always looking for ways to improve on that. And I think it's through that input you give us that enables Oshkosh Media to produce something that is of such high quality that serves you, the residents of Oshkosh. So Andy and Jake and Scott, congratulations on some excellent work.
Well, thank you very much. And I will say, too, that we are very proud of our teamwork here at Oshkosh Media. We all work together very well, and you know, it's a great teamwork experience here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we're not afraid to try different things. And I think that's part of part of the success that Oshkosh Media has had. They're always willing to try something new.
Well, the drone being a new addition, so
Scott Williams just loves that drone, as you could see from the video earlier.
I think so. All right. Well, we have some Memorial Day reminders to pass along. Kind of the usual things, but just to remind folks.
Absolutely. First of all, there'll be no garbage or recycling collection on May 30th. Collections are going to be one day later for the rest of the week, as normal. And City Hall will be closed, and no GO Transit bus service for Memorial Day itself. So just one day later for the garbage and recycling pickup. That's really the big thing to know about. The Oshkosh Public Library will also be closed, not just on Memorial Day, but also on Sunday of Memorial Day weekend. So both May 29th and 30th. And then the other places that are going to be closed on the 30th include the Oshkosh Public Museum, City Hall, and the Yard Waste Drop-Off Center. And of course, and we mentioned earlier, GO Transit won't be operating that day either.
Right. And you can always check out the Oshkosh, City of Oshkosh government Facebook page for updates on all of those different reminders for Memorial Day. Speaking of Memorial Day, the annual procession is taking place once again the morning of Memorial Day, but it's a new route this year. We wanted to remind folks about that.
Yes, well, you saw earlier with all our video that Algoma is under construction through the good part of this. So the procession start point is moving. We're going to be starting it at Oshkosh North High School. That'll start at 9 a.m. and it'll go from Oshkosh North High School on Smith Avenue down to Vinland, over to Murdoch, and then back to its traditional route on Algoma up to Riverside Cemetery, where the ceremony will be. And in addition to the procession that concludes at Riverside Cemetery, there will also be the reading of names at the South Park War Monument and the laying of the wreath of those lost at sea at Riverside Park, as is customary at other Memorial Days. We certainly want to honor and thank those who have served our country and gave the ultimate sacrifice to preserve our freedom. So congratulations to everyone putting this together, and thank you to everyone for your service.
And just a reminder as well that Oshkosh Media will be televising the procession once again this year. Yours truly will be co-hosting it, and it will be replayed on Oshkosh Media Gov TV as well as posted online for viewing later. Okay, Mark, I believe that's the time that we have for the first part of our program, and it's time for us to take a short break. Stay with us for some highlights for the upcoming Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. We'll be right back.
Holding a phone takes precious attention away from the road. That's why handheld cell phone use is now illegal in Wisconsin work zones, and fines start at $40. Driving deserves your undivided attention. It's about safety for workers and for all motorists. So when you see orange cones, please put down the phone. The Wisconsin DOT urges you to help us achieve 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads.
Welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming May 24th Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And Mark, there's quite a bit on the agenda for this upcoming meeting, and the meeting will begin actually at 5 p.m. with a workshop on the housing study and needs assessment.
Yes, this is something that our Community Development Department brought in a consultant to assist them in identifying housing needs and where some gaps are. And we've actually identified a few things, and they'll be talking about this at the workshop. One of the issues that is certainly of concern is affordable housing, and that's not just affordable housing for low income. It's making sure that housing is affordable at all levels, so that we aren't doing things that we might be inadvertently doing that are causing costs for housing to go up. Take a good look at our subdivision code, our zoning code. What things do we need to change that can perhaps make it more cost effective for people to build, especially with the cost of building materials and things like that. And then underserved markets. We actually have 3 underserved markets, and they're at both extremes of the economic spectrum. We have a lack of higher end housing, and what's happening is people are going elsewhere to get the higher end housing. So there's something that we have an opportunity to attract people that who can bring higher income, higher wealth to our community. That's all very good. On the other end of the spectrum, we have people who are at the lowest end. They're considered both very low and extremely low income, and that means that they need to be able to afford no more than 30% of their salary or their wages towards housing. And when they can't do that, it becomes unaffordable for them. They aren't necessarily going to be buying homes, but they certainly want to have rental housing. So we're looking at barriers to that prevent them from getting affordable housing, and is there anything we can do in that regard to get those types of things done? Those are the things you're going to hear talked about, and then where we next steps where we go with this to actually do something about it and not just talk about it.
Okay, and it's really a national problem, but this is the focus on Oshkosh and how we address it locally.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, and then at the beginning of the meeting, Common Council meeting, we have a presentation. It's the Canthus Awards.
The Canthus Awards are given by our Landmarks Commission to recognize organizations or individuals that have done something with properties that really demonstrate the value of historically significant housing. And I'm not going to read off the awards that Shirley Maddox, the chair of the Landmarks Commission, will be making that presentation, and she does a wonderful job at giving some history to the buildings and what's been done to them, and again, honoring the people who have made this possible.
Right, very good. Okay, and then following up after that, we have a presentation regarding the designated outside refreshment area. And, I've heard a lot about this, and has the council discussed this before?
No, this will be the first time they will be given a presentation about this issue. The Downtown Business Improvement District is proposing this, and they've certainly discussed it, and it's got some good media coverage. And I think there's an assumption that somehow the council's already heard this or already decided it, and neither of which is the case. We had to work with the bid to identify what legal issues were there that may prevent this from happening or may limit what will happen. And I think we've got most of those worked out. The graphic you see here is the proposed boundary. It's a little more than the business improvement district, and so those are the types of things that will be talked about. We wanted to make council aware of highlights of areas that are in there, how many establishments that are in there that serve alcohol right now. But basically the proposal is at this time is to allow people to walk on the streets in this designated area with drinks from the establishments within there. You can't go into other establishments with these drinks, but you can. The idea would be to relax the regulations that are in place to allow people to walk up and down the street.
So in the future, some ordinances may need to be changed?
Yeah, they would be. But, the council really needs to hear from the public first and hear from the bid and what their idea is. And then we'll work with the bid to identify concerns that we as staff might have from an enforcement standpoint, public safety, quality of life. We have to look at all those things before we move on.
Okay, all right. Then we have public hearings on the agenda, and there's quite a few here, and these are regarding special assessments. And I know that there's been discussion about alternatives to special assessments. Where are we at in that discussion?
Well, that is something to do with what we are permitted to do at the state level. There's been some efforts to try to limit our ability to create something such as a transportation utility fee. These special assessment hearings are for all the projects we talked about earlier. But for us to implement a fee, it's going to take some time, and I don't anticipate we'll be able to get that implemented and really enacted until January 1st of 2023. So we have to proceed with these special assessment hearings, which for those folks there are not going to be too happy about that, but we can't just get rid of the special assessments without having some revenue source to back it up.
Right. So to be continued with that. So, all right. And then on the consent agenda, we have various items. One of them is for a commercial development over by West South Park Avenue and Ripon Lane, and I believe that's a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, well, this is the old Packers Pub area, and there's been so many different rumors about what's going there or not going there. I think some of those rumors have been squelched because they weren't correct, but the ones that have been presented to us that we know about are the Dunkin' Donuts, as you mentioned, and an O'Reilly auto parts store. So those are the two that the graphics show what we've received. There may be some other ones coming there later on, but I would encourage everybody not to believe everything you read on social media on that, because there were some rumors about other things, and I can't even remember what they are, but I think Camping World was one of them. Camping World's actually going out on South Washburn, not to that area. So there's a little truth in every rumor, but not entirely accurate. So those are the two we know we're going in right now, and you can see construction is actively underway.
Okay, later in consent, we have appointments to various boards and commissions, and I know there are always openings for boards and commissions.
There are. This is the end of terms for some of them, and so the mayor can either reappoint somebody or appoint someone new. Someone may not want to serve another term. So that's what this process is, but we still have a number of vacancies, so I would encourage people to check out our website. It shows how many vacancies we have with all of our boards and commissions. All of our youth ex officio positions are open right now, but you can see anything red shows where we have vacancies. Look at something that may be of interest to you that you may want to serve, and you can fill out an application. We'll get it to the mayor, and the mayor will review the applications and make a recommendation to the council for people to serve on these boards and commissions.
Residents' input is very important, so we encourage you to take a look at that and apply. Okay, under new ordinances, we have an item for, it relates to the Boys and Girls Club expanding.
Yeah, the Boys and Girls Club have been through the process of acquiring some properties there in the 500 block of Monroe Street. And they have a pretty ambitious program going on, but they're going to be expanding. The number of kids that the Boys and Girls Club serves in our community is significant, and they recognize they need additional partnerships with other community groups, so they want to expand their footprint to be able to meet the needs of the the kids that go to the Boys and Girls Club. So there have been some renderings out there that we've been showing people, or that they've given us, that we can share with you, and this gives you an idea. But some of the homes in the 500 block of Monroe will be eventually demolished, and this is what you'll see eventually once the Boys and Girls Club goes through that process and their fundraising.
Okay, very good. And then under new resolutions, we have an item, and this relates to rehabilitation of South Washburn Street. And I believe that this was linked to the federal infrastructure bill.
Yeah, there are actually two items on the agenda for federal infrastructure bill projects. We'd actually submitted 4 projects for consideration. We had to have all the design ready to go, and so we've been working feverishly on that so we could meet that requirement. But of course, there's limited funds, especially this first year. So we were notified that 2 of our projects were going to move forward for consideration, and it's the first one you mentioned, South Washburn from 20th to Dickinson. So that'll be rehabilitated. If you've driven it, you know exactly what we're talking about there.
Sure.
And then the second one is Osborne Street, and that's pretty much about 1,600 feet west of Mason Street all the way back to Knapp Street. So those are 2 streets that get a lot of traffic, and they are in pretty rough shape. So we felt they were appropriate candidates, and the federal government will fund about 80% of these project costs. So this will save our local taxpayers a great deal of money through lesser borrowing on our part.
Sure. And you mentioned that there were a total of 4. So then what happens with those other 2 projects that are being applied for?
We were informed that with a little bit of paperwork, all we got to do is basically say, let's roll those over to future years, so the work that we've invested in those 2 projects can get considered for future years. And this is probably going to be like a 5-year funding cycle. So we've got a few more years, and we'll identify other projects. When we see an opportunity to get a project funded, there's specific criteria for these streets, and we're going to meet those criteria. And we're not going to be shy about asking for the money, that's for sure.
Okay, well, good deal. All right. And then also a new resolution, we are seeking approval for the additional battalion chief position at the Oshkosh Fire Department. And this is an unusual time of year for this sort of a thing.
Typically, we don't ask for additional positions mid-year unless it's already budgeted in the budget. But we've been discussing things that have been going on in the fire department, certainly a lot of turnover. And our battalion chief position is the one position that's supervisory that works 24 hours a day. These folks work 24-hour shifts. We only have 3 battalion chiefs to cover 3 different shifts. They work 24-hour on and then 48 hours off before they go back and work again. We don't have anybody to spare them to fill these other shifts. These folks are working 80 to 100-hour work weeks. And a lot of people say, well, it's a 24-hour shift, they get to sleep. Well, sometimes they get to sleep. Other times they don't get to sleep at all.
Right.
This is an absolute concern that we have. We want to make sure that we have good supervision, and we give and we don't overtax our battalion chiefs groups. And it's also impacting recruitment. People are hesitant to apply, and talking with employees, like if we can just get another position, get some relief, so the battalion chief position is more attractive. They are crucial to the success of our fire department, and we want to make sure that it happens, and that's why I'm recommending that at this time.
Okay, very good. Well, I think I'm out of breath. I think that's about all the time that we have to talk today. So
we've covered a lot of stuff today, Andy, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Okay, and thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you tuning in. Again, the Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, May 24th at City Hall, which is 215 Church Avenue. And you can watch that on GovTV, Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on the YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen to it on the radio, Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is also online, and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. You can also use your favorite streaming device, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And as always, you can visit our YouTube channel for government meeting archives and the full library of Oshkosh Media programming. So please join us again in 3 weeks for another City Managers Report. Thanks for watching.